Hi, I'm Jaya, and I'm here to talk to you about EFT, or Emotional Freedom Technique, and how to do that with children. Uh, mm, I prefer doing it with older kids and teens who aren't children anymore. Uh, and that's because there's a certain requirement for self-awareness, and not that smaller kids aren't self-aware, but self-awareness can go with self-consciousness, and we all know that teens and tweens are typically getting increasingly self-conscious, and just learning how to be with that. They're also getting increasingly self-aware. So we sort of harness that and use it in EFT to support them to be more clear and to also have a very easy and accessible tool for self-regulating. So EFT is fantastic when someone is actively speaking about what's not okay with them. So for a smaller child, for example, I mean, I used to do it with my 10-year-old, and we did it earlier too, maybe when they were 8. So if a child is presenting with nobody likes me, or I'm really bad at this, I can't do it, I'll never learn, or something really simple like that, you could totally use EFT to that. So beyond age qualifications, just go with a specific child before you and what you sense could work for them, and run it as an experiment with nothing forced. And if they appreciate it and take to it, brilliant. And if not, cool. Okay, so by the way, with older kids who are resistant to even checking out the technique, or learning it at all, or who think it's weird, tell them pink does it, if that means anything to them, or see if it does. But gosh, if I can find it, I'll include the short on YouTube, but you could also do some exploring and searching yourself, where Pink actually talks about her tapping meditation, in which she uses it to calm herself. Sorry, that sentence went astray grammatically. So let's say you're talking to a teenager, and it's very clear that they're distressed or upset or having a bad time about something. And obviously, if they're just deliriously triggered, or off the edge with something, this probably wouldn't be the time to introduce it, but it could be, you never know. All right, so what we do is we begin by speaking out loud. It's so no bullshit. And you can invite them to that too if they appreciate that. We begin by saying out loud all the things: what's distressing, what's upsetting, what's unfair, what feels terrible, what we're believing. Anything that's in the actual field right now. This is excellent for not spiritual bypassing, to say this from a spiritual and older perspective, that you just actually put into the air, put into the room, into your field, say out loud in simple terms, what's up. So you do that as you tap acupoints and follow a certain patterns, and I will show that to you. And once you go through the pattern one time, it doesn't take that long, saying all the negatives. And that could include, I'm ashamed of this, or I'm so mad about this, or I hate myself for feeling this way. You just get all the different layers that are there. Or it could be way more simple. This is how I feel. This sucks. I hate myself. I hate them. Whatever, whatever. Okay. So after that, you do rounds, more than one. We counter the negatives with more positives. I'm just going to say that for shorthand. It's not really about being positive, but about reaching for things that are kinder, reaching for things that are truer, reaching for things that make you feel better, that empower you. We reach for the thoughts that could actually support us. And one way to say this, especially if you've got someone before you who really cares about other people, is if you were helping along somebody younger than you, and if you know some specific younger person they actually really care about, and you've seen them coach along or mentor or, give good advice to or whatever, you could say if you were coaching that specific person along, would you say to them what you're saying to yourself? Would you sit and tell them you're never going to get over this and you're stuck with this for life and you're terrible at this and you suck and whatever? Whatever it is. Okay, so I'm just going to demonstrate. I'm going to take you through a round of tapping out the no bullshit, this is what's up right now, and then 3 rounds of things you might reach for that are better feeling thoughts. And, before I begin, to give you a couple of categories, I usually start with very general things you could say to any human being, or things you could say about the whole human race, things that normalize it, things that when we're specifically in our pain, especially in super self-conscious years or moments, we feel so particular and just so peculiar in what we're experiencing. And so to just sort of go pan way out and go to the whole human race. There's no human being who hasn't felt this way. This is actually super normal stuff to feel. I've felt this way before and I didn't get stuck there. So now you're coming a little closer, but still it's out there very general. And then you just go in different directions, but you can also increase specificity of what you're talking about. You could talk about things you've conquered before, and you could talk about things about why you're capable of walking yourself through this, resources you have, even things like time. I know I'll probably feel better later today or when I get a little distance from this. And I know the world isn't ending. Okay, well, let's just do it. And I will... I'll give you more as I go. And let me also just add, there is a page on my website, jayathetrustcoach.com, that it's a tools tab that you can see at the top of the site or in the menu. And there is an EFT page, and there's also a focus wheel page. And in the focus wheel page, the reason I bring this up is there are bullet points about... there isn't an EFT page. I have an EFT channel. I will provide that link for you to have. But I do name it on the general page of tools, and actually there is a link there to my YouTube channel. But so the focus wheel page actually has bullet points of categories to reach for when you're looking for better feeling thoughts, because in a focus wheel you fill those in around a theme. So you could go look there to get more ideas about categories. Oh, okay, something about resources I have, something about what I saw somebody else do, something about what I did in the past. And that can just sort of give you more ideas for the kinds of thoughts to reach for. Okay, here we go. So when you begin, there's a setup, and you never do that again. So the setup point is under there's a line at the base of the pinky, and you're tapping just under that on the side of the hand. It's the karate chop point. And you can say different things for it. And usually when I take people through EFT, I model sort of saying it 3 different ways because you say it 3 times. But in fact, you could just repeat the very same thing all over again and just keep it super simple. But however people do this, they have some version or another of I accept myself and I love myself. Now, if you're with a kid who just can hardly stand to talk about self-love, and that could certainly be a classic teen thing where that's just weird and no thank you. Just go with I accept myself right now, I accept all parts of myself, things like that. So here we go. We're tapping on the karate chop point with these 2 fingers, pointer and middle finger. Even though I really feel exposed right now and like everybody's thinking horrible things about me, I want to try to accept myself right now. Even though it seems like everybody hates me right now or thinks this awful thing about me, knows this thing about me. Right now I'm just going to accept that and know that I don't have to feel bad about myself. I accept myself. Even though I'm so embarrassed and everybody knows about this and hates me, thinks I'm a loser, whatever. Right now, I accept myself on some level. I'm okay with myself. I remember who I am. Okay. Now, what we do in EFT is I say it and you repeat it. And I always invite people to say their own thing or tap silently or do whatever you need to do if there's one you don't want to repeat. Repeat something we said before that felt good to you. So you can invite someone else to this too. We begin tapping here on the crown. And I'm using all the fingers, not the thumb. Okay, I have this awful feeling that everybody knows about this and hates me. You give them time to repeat it or to just tap and take it in. Inner eyebrow. So usually you tap with these two fingers. On the head crown you can tap with your whole hand. This feels so bad right now. I'm just feeling horrible. Outer eye, you're on the bone that's right there. I can't stand feeling this self-conscious. Okay, under the eye, directly under the center of the eye and upper cheekbone. I actually just am so embarrassed. And if they're okay with saying this, I feel shame. Under the nose. So you're tapping on the skin here between the bottom of the nose and the upper lip, and some people kind of tighten it. So I feel bad about myself when I'm this embarrassed and ashamed. I kind of don't like myself. Chin point. I also feel like this is so unfair. Or maybe how this happened, or who exposed this, or what so-and-so specifically did to me or said about me. Under the clavicle round, so you're at the inner part of the collarbone, just under the circle. I hate this crawl away and die feeling, and that's where I am right now. Okay, now we're going to do the side of the rib where you lift your arm and where you're beginning. So at the base of the armpit, if you put a hand there, a hand's width away is where you're going to tap. So it is the so-called bra strap point. And you're tapping on the side of the ribs, so I'll just cue side of the ribs from now on. But you're a hand's width from the base of the armpit. And you just raise the other hand. I can't see a good resolution to this. Any way I slice this, I cannot see this going well for me. Okay, we have completed the circuit. Now, if you have tons of negative things to say, you could do another round, but by and large, I like to keep it to one round. And now we're back at the crown, which you can tap with your whole hand. I'm going to show you two-sided tapping in this round. Actually, I'll do that after we've done one round of better feeling thoughts. Okay. I know that people get embarrassed sometimes and feel like they want to die. This is a pretty normal thing that most people have felt. Probably everybody. Inner eyebrow. Sometimes I chop it up into parts, you'll notice. I've felt this way before. I survived. Okay, side of the eye. What I thought I would not get through, I got through. It didn't last forever. Under the eye. A part of me can know that I won't get stuck here. And I also see the part of me that thinks I will. And notice that you've just helped them access the witness a little bit with that way of framing it. Let's move to under the nose, above the lip. Human beings get exposed for things they want private. I've seen it happen to other people. Okay, chin point, which is really the groove between lower lip and chin. I would like this never to happen to me. That's probably other people's preference too. And things like this do happen. Under the clavicle round. Right now, I welcome myself to the human race. Or, right now, I accept that I'm a human being and human stuff happens to me. Side of the ribs. Really, I just want to feel better. And I like to invite people to just breathe when they're not speaking, like actually be aware of breathing, because the breath is going to expand during tapping. The whole nervous system is going to calm down, so the breath will also expand. As a sign of that, back to the crown. I kind of hate some of these people right now, or some specific person. And I also know that it feels bad to hate. I feel it right now. Inner eyebrow. I don't need to rush myself to not hating, but I'm aware that I'd like to get there. Side of the eye. Outer eye. If you're reaching for a thought like I am now, that's really okay. Like silent tapping is good. Again, it always just calming everything down, and the already said messages are coming in, sinking in, integrating. So you just carry on. I really want to be less self-conscious. Under the eye, upper cheekbone. Right now, I can accept even a little bit that I'm self-conscious. It's okay. It's normal. Under the nose, upper lip. I want to remember right now again that it's going to pass. Or maybe coming back to a message helps it sink in a little bit. Or maybe they're more receptive to something a little later in the tapping as they're calming down. Chin point, the groove between. I would like to not sit around thinking about what others are thinking of me. That feels bad even when I'm not in this kind of state. Under the clavicle. I'd like to just be with myself right now. And keep out the outer gaze. Now, if a phrase like outer gaze seems off, you could say, keep other people out of it. Not bring them into my mind when I could be alone here. Side of the ribs. I am actually losing my power or disempowering myself or making myself more self-conscious. You could say any or all of such things. By sitting here imagining other people looking at me and hating me. Crown of the head. I'd like to not do that to myself. That's not kind to myself. Inner eyebrow. If I were looking out for somebody younger, or some specific somebody, I would never tell them everybody hates you right now and picture all the people right now who hate you. Side of the eye. I would never do that to somebody else. So right now I'd like to stop doing it to myself. Invite them to breathe when they're not speaking. Be aware of how breath feels. Under the eye, upper cheekbone. I want to remember who I am. Just even one true thing I know about myself. Under the nose. I'm actually not a loser. Chin point. I'm going to think of and maybe say out loud right now one reason I know I'm not a loser. And one other reason. And one other reason. Under the clavicle round. Right now I'm going to think of one reason I know this is going to be okay. So let's actually move to the next point to actually say that reason out loud. So side of the ribs. You could just be silent and let them say it. You could just invite them to say the one thing they know. Here are some things to offer. I got past X or Y, which remember they were invited to check in with earlier, and I was okay. My friend so-and-so had this or that happen, and they thought they were gonna never live it down, and that's not what people are talking or thinking about now. I know that even if I lose some friends, so-and-so would always love me or be my friend or get over whatever came up. Well, let's just do that one. Even if they just did it, we just go to the crown and reinforce that. Oh, and let me show you two-handed tapping. So this is optional, just some people like how it feels better. So you're tapping with two hands on most points. So-and-so will always be my friend. Or I can count on this core group of friends. Or my family will never disown me. Anything that feels relevant. Inner eyebrow, we can tap two-handed. I'm going to go faster just because I'm in a demonstration and I've taken some time here. I can think of one thing that I'm going to look forward to and then have them name that thing. Outer eye. I can think of one way I can take care of myself at school tomorrow to feel better. So have them say that and then name that thing. Offer things if they don't think of them. Under the eye. It's really okay if sometimes I'm just more quiet and withdrawn. So I give myself permission for that. Now the next 2 points are one-handed tappings. I can think of one thing I can focus on to take my attention off of this. We'll see if they have more than one thing. Under the chin. More specifically, I can think of something I could do that would make me feel better. If they need suggestions, help them out. And then you can always do 3 centered stuff, body, heart, head. So then we can say, oh, well, back to two-sided tapping on the clavicle. I can think of something I would do that would make my body feel better. And if you know they run or swim or whatever, you can do yoga, you can suggest it. I can think of one thing to make myself feel better emotionally. Well, I'm doing it right now with the tapping, or I could draw for a while. I could call so-and-so. I could go to this place I love. And then I can think of one way that I would feel better mentally. I can really put my focus somewhere else, think about something else, say more things out loud that I like about myself or that I'm looking forward to, do some homework that I know I'll do well, do the easiest thing first. Okay, side of the ribs. And we always end at the crown, so I'm on the before last point here. Oh, to do two-sided tapping with this one, you cross your hands over, and so each hand is tapping on the other rib. I can think of something that would make me laugh, or someone to hang out with to laugh, things I could watch online that would make me laugh, so that I could just feel better and look away. I would chop that up. That's a lot for someone to remember, but then stay put while they think of something and name it. Or suggest them if you know some stuff that they like. Okay, crown point. two-handed patting, tapping with one hand with fingers. I really think I'm going to be okay. I'm not fully convinced, and even that is okay. Just in little bits, give them things to close on that kind of tie it up. I refuse to hate myself. I'm going to figure out what I can do that makes me feel better or addresses this somehow. I don't have to rush it. I really just need to feel better. Definitely keep getting other people out of it. And there's a part of me right now that remembers I am strong. I like myself. I like how I do things. I usually don't feel this way. It's really all okay. At the end of tapping, I invite people to drop their hands down on their laps, one hand cupped over the other. If you think they would bristle at that or that's weird, just drop your hands down and just feel in for a minute. Just breathe and notice that you're breathing differently. Notice that the literal sensations of the tapping, the reverberations, are still happening in the body. And just notice what you like about that, or what feels good about that. Notice if you feel calmer. And that's complete. You can, if people like numbers or data, you can invite them at the beginning to, on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly do I feel about this? And so maybe it's a 10 or a 9 or whatever. And then at the end, check it out again. So now what number would you put to it? And even if it's budged a little, that's good news. Another thing I sometimes do in that moment at the end where you're just breathing, eyes closed, taking it in, and no one ever has to close their eyes, is have them just notice what's the thing that we said that stuck the least, or that even brought up a no way, I can't believe that, or I'm not there yet, or that's bullshit, or whatever. And then maybe naming that is helpful, and you could go right back in again for another tapping session. I probably wouldn't do that with somebody young. Or just know, okay, well, there's something to be with some more down the line, or at my next therapy appointment, or when we want to tap again, or whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to leave you there. Play with it, experiment wildly, adapt as you will, and force nothing. And if your child won't tap, or the child you're looking out for won't tap, well, you tap for yourself to calm yourself down and stop thinking you're responsible for all that they feel, or for fixing all that's up for them. And obviously, if you're doing this with a group of kids you're teaching, you just stay more general and less personal, and tap super universal things. And you can tap them when they're not up at all, just whoever feels this way, and then we run with it. And that could be very helpful to give them something to refer to back later. And on that note, I leave you now. Thank you for being with me.